friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to another video and welcome to my very first weekly challenge for the first month of the year. I will be doing this, I believe, all throughout February. I'm kind of pre-filming these first clips just to make sure that I can get a semblance of an order of how things are going to work and get run down for this series. But today we're going to be starting with my very first challenge video, a week worth of reading specific types of books. And for today, we're going to be reading some of my TBR vets. So basically what I did was I watched through my first 3 or 4 hauls from 2020 when I first started buying books and seeing which ones I did and didn't read. And the ones that I didn't read, I put into a little spinner wheel. I'm going to pick 4 today, and that's going to be the TBR for this secret TBR. I have some that I would really love not to get, and some that I wouldn't be too mad if I got them. A lot of these are like books that I was very interested in when I first started reading, and some of them are not as exciting for me anymore, but I would still love to get them off my TBR nonetheless. I'm using these fun challenges as a way to get books off my TBR that I wouldn't necessarily pick for myself, and in hopes that it would be something fun for you guys to watch and entertaining. I don't really get the chance to do these secret TBR and challenge videos very often because my TBRs are usually very stacked. So I'm hoping with the way that I'm planning this and the way that I'm putting this together, it will help me to make time to do these secret TBR videos and bring a little extra content for you guys each and every month. So without further ado, let's go ahead and spin the spinner wheel and see which 4 books I'm going to be reading this week. Okay, so I'm going to move over just a little bit so that I can put this up on the screen for you. As you can see, I have my little spinner wheel here. It has a good portion of books on here. Definitely some ones that I'm really interested in and other ones that I totally forgot that I even owned. So let's hope that I can find a rather good one. Cross my fingers, let's hope. But I'm gonna spin the wheel 4 times and then I'm going to take off the ones that I have already spun. So let's do it. Ooh, I'm nervous. Okay. Wow, okay, the very first one that we got is The Boyfriend Project, so let me go ahead and pull that. So what we got was The Boyfriend Project by Farrah Roshan. This is one that I got when I was still subscribed to Book of the Month, so it's been quite a while since it's been on my TBR. I am interested in this still. It is a adult contemporary romance. Why play by love's rules when you can make your own? Samia Brooks never thought she would be that girl, but a live tweet of her horrific date just revealed the painful truth. She's been catfished by a 3-timing jerk of a boyfriend. Suddenly, Samaya, along with her 2 other girlfriends, his 2 other girlfriends, London and Taylor, have gone viral online. Now the 3 new besties are making a pact to spend the next 6 months investing in themselves. No men and no dating. For once, Samaya is putting herself first, and that includes finally developing the app that she's always dreamed of creating, which is the exact moment that she meets the deliciously sexy Daniel Collins at work. What are the chances? But is Daniel real boyfriend material, or is he maybe just a little too good to be true? This one sounds like it's going to be a cute, fun read, so hopefully I can get through that one rather quickly. All right, let's do spin number 2. This always just gives me anxiety. All right. This was definitely not one that I particularly wanted this month, but that's okay. Let me find it because I have no idea where it is. All right, so I pulled Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. This is the 2nd book in the Red Queen series. I didn't necessarily love the first book. This one follows a class system that has silvers and red bloods, and the red-blooded people are like the lowest of the lows. And when the main character, I totally forget her name, Meredith, when she finds out that she has magical powers that are supposed to be exclusive to only the silver bloods, but she has red blood, she kind of gets thrust into this political game where she's forced to kind of be in some situations that she wasn't exactly expecting. So the first one had an interesting twist, even though I saw it coming a mile away. I'm interested to see what happens in the 2nd book. The books just get chunkier and chunkier as they go on, so hopefully I will enjoy book 2. All right, let's do spin number 3. Ugh, my heart is palpitating. Okay, I will finally be reading Jasmine Gilroy's book, The Wedding Date. I've had this one on my TBR for so long, so let's hope that I love it. This one is rather short, so that's good. The Wedding Date by Jasmine Gilroy. It has to do with a wedding, obviously. I vowed to take thee as my date, to pretend to have and to hold, from rehearsal dinner to reception's end, till Sunday do us part. So it's a fake dating romance that has to do with a wedding date. I've heard mixed reviews about Jasmine Gilroy's writing, so let's hope that I like that one. And finally, let's do the very last spin for this week worth of secret reading. Secret reading, oh my gosh. Tongue twister and a half. And the very last book that I'm going to be reading is Wow, we're really getting some books that have been on my TBR for a long time, and that is House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. And finally, we have House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. This is one that I was really excited about when I bought it, but I have not really heard anything about it since. I know it's a nautical themed fantasy. Anna Lee lives a sheltered life in Highmore, a manor by the sea, with her sister, their father, and stepmother. Once they were 12, but the loneliness filled the grand halls now that 4 of the girls' lives have been cut short. Each death was more tragic than the last. The plague, a plummeting fall, drowning, a slippery plunge, and there were whispers throughout a surviving village that the family is cursed by the gods. That's all I'm going to read. I think this is a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, I think. So I'm interested to see how that goes. This is going to be my little TBR for the next week. Let's hope that I can read all of these and hopefully really enjoy them. This is a long clip. I hope you enjoyed it, but without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, friends, it is time for me to start this secret TBR video. I am nervous, kind of excited to see how I feel about these books. Some of them I'm more excited about than others, but I just wanted to come on here really quick and let you know I'm about to start the books. But before I actually start them, I kind of wanted to rank them based off what I think my enjoyment is going to be, but also compare and contrast what the Goodreads ratings are for these books and see at the end if I agree with the Goodreads ratings. So I'm going to put these books in order based off of the Goodreads ratings, and then I will show you what I think my enjoyment is going to be based off of the books that are on here, and we will see once we get to the end of the week what the results are. And just as a reminder, these are the 4 books that I'm supposed to be reading this week. So we have House, Salt and Sorrow, The Wedding Date, The Boyfriend Project, and Glass Sword. So the highest book currently that's rated on Goodreads is House of Salt and Sorrow with a 3.93 Goodreads rating. And in second place, we have Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard with a 3.85. In third place is The Wedding Date with a 3.60 Goodreads rating. And surprisingly, at the bottom is The Boyfriend Project, which has a 3.58 Goodreads rating. Surprisingly, when I put my books in the order of what I thought I was going to enjoy them, they are very, very different from the Goodreads ratings. It's definitely not the same, but I will go ahead and put up what I think my ratings are going to be based off of what I have preconceived notions about for these books. So the one that I think that I'm going to enjoy the least is Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. This is not really a series that I absolutely enjoyed when I read it, so I'm not really looking forward to book 2. However, I understand why the Goodreads rating for this is quite high because it's a sequel, and most people go into the sequels like having enjoyed the first book. So I think that my thought process on this is a little bit of a minority, but I'm not looking forward to this one as much as all the rest of the books. Then second to last, I think that I will enjoy The Wedding Date the least. I just heard so many mixed reviews about Jasmine Guillory's writing, and I don't know, I'm just really afraid of this one, even though it has a pretty good rating on Goodreads, a 3.60. I mean, it's not fantastic, but comparatively to all the rest of the books, it's not bad, but I don't know, I just don't think that I'm going to absolutely love this one. And then if I had to put in a second spot, I think I would pick House of Salt and Sorrow. I don't know, I was really excited about this book when I first originally bought it, and now my feelings and thoughts for this book have kind of waned a little bit, so I'm not really sure I'm going to love it, but I think I'm going to really enjoy it a little bit more than the other 2 at least. And then of course that leaves The Boyfriend Project at the top, which is very surprising because it's literally at the bottom in Goodreads ratings. So we will definitely have to see if I agree with that statement. I'm very curious now to read this one, seeing as it's rated pretty damn low. So we shall see. These are the 4 books and the order of which I think I'm going to enjoy them. I'm actually going to start with The Wedding Date, actually, because I have the audiobook for this on Libby, and I'm going to be cleaning today. So I figured it would be nice to just listen to the audiobook while I get some chores done, and hopefully I can get around to finishing this one relatively soon. I do have the audiobooks for all 4 of these books this week. These 3, I have them on Libby. These 3 I have on Libby, and then this one I have on Libro FM, so I should be able to get through these ones relatively quickly. So wish me luck. Let's go ahead and get started with the first book, and I think I'll check in with you about the 50% mark and see how we're doing. Hi guys, I just wanted to come on here and give you my 50% mark update. It's not really 50%, I'm more like 44% of the way through this, but I just didn't feel like my thoughts on the first half of this book were going to change that much in the next 6% or so. So I am reading The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. This is about, I already forgot her name, Alexa, who meets a man on the elevator named Drew, and the elevator breaks down, and they have this like little meet cute together on the elevator while they're waiting for the power to come back on in this hotel. And before they separate for the night, Drew asks Alexa if she will be his date for his best friend's wedding, who happens to be getting married to his ex-girlfriend. And he's a groomsman in the wedding, and he's like, I cannot show up without a date like this. That's the worst thing that could happen on top of all of the other ticks of the boxes. girlfriend, best friend's wedding, and things didn't end so amicably between her and him and the ex. So she agrees to go on this date with him to the wedding. The problem that I'm having with this book is the like fake dating aspect of this book ended so soon, and that's my favorite thing about like the fake dating books is like the will they, won't they, are the feelings real, are they not, the push and pull between the two characters before they fall into love with each other, and that just didn't happen with this book. And so my interest for the book kind of really dipped after the wedding portion, which ended on like I think 30% of the way into this book. So I don't know, I just felt like the pacing for this romance novel is just a little bit off, and I don't really know where the story is going now because the fake dating aspect is no longer a big portion of the story, and now we're just following these characters. And if I had gone in with that information, with that context of what to look for with the book, I think that I would have probably enjoyed the pacing a little bit more. But going into this thinking it was going to be a full-on fake dating type situation, and I'm not really getting that. I don't know, my expectations were off, and I can see now that I'm not going to get everything I would have wanted. So that's definitely going to affect my rating. I can see it affecting my rating already. So I'm liking it, but I'm not loving it. I also don't love how insecure this main character is about her body. She is not skinny, but she's also not fat. But she is constantly making remarks about herself in her head as well as out loud about her body and how she's going to look in a swimsuit and her stretch marks and being too heavy. And it's just like, I wish she was a little bit more confident as a strong Black female character. So that's my only thing. I do like the fact, however, that she is like pretty high up in the food chain for her job, and so she's a really confident person when it comes to her work. I just wish that she was a little bit more confident outside of the work setting. So that is my current thoughts on The Wedding Date. I will give you an update either at the 75% mark or when I finish the book. Hi friends, let's talk. Let's talk about it. I finished The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. I don't know how to say this last name. Did I like this book? No, I did not. I'm shooketh to my core about how much I disliked this book. I haven't run it through Cawpile just yet, but at this point in my reading experience, I'm gonna give it a 1 star. My first 1 star of the year, and it's really disappointing because the last 2 traditionally published romance books that I read by authors of color, I had given them a 1 and 2 star rating, which is very, very sad. But basically, I'm gonna just listen. If you want to read a book about almost 30-something-year-olds being so emotionally immature and lacking the ability to have a adult communicative conversation, you should definitely read this. I cannot stand these characters, and they had 0 chemistry. Like, I felt nothing between them. The only time I felt even happy about reading this book was during the fake dating wedding portion. And like I said, that took up maybe 30, 40 pages of this book. And then it was done. And then we were dealing with their stupid shit and the amount of insecure experiences that I had with these characters. It's just so baffling. Like, neither one of these characters felt good about themselves enough to be in a solid, healthy relationship. And I just wasn't here for it. I didn't like the main character's fat shaming. That was never addressed, by the way. Not once was it addressed in this entire novel. And the male main character, Drew, was just a pain in the ass to read from. He was a jealous, flying off the handle type of guy. And there's a particular scene in here where he does this whole inner monologue, well, not inner monologue, but he's like yelling at her after they have this big fight, and he calls her a bitch. And it's just like, I don't know when that term is ever used in a fight that shouldn't at least be addressed. And no, did he address it? No. Did he even really apologize? No. The makeup scene, not cute, no chemistry, no sparks, and literally the epilogue made me want to gag. So I could rant and rave, I could rant about this book all day, but I will spare you the details. Surprisingly, this is gonna probably be the worst book, and I really thought that I was going to at least somewhat enjoy this one, but it didn't happen. But as of right now, it's sitting at number 1 because it's the only book that I've read, but it will quickly go down to the bottom unless there's something worse than this. And God, please, I hope not. But I don't have it in my hands, but I did start, Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. I kind of wanted a break from the romances, especially because the other romance that I have is currently my lowest rated book in the stack. So now I'm worried that that one's going to be terrible. But yeah, I started Glass Sword on my way home from work after I finished The Wedding Date. And I probably got like 2 chapters in, so I don't really have too much to talk to you about. So once I get about 15-20% in, I will give you an update and let you know how I feel about it, but I'm very excited to be done with that. I've never wanted to finish a book so much in my entire life, and I'm ready to move on. So I will talk to you when I have another update. Hi friends, I have just a few minutes to talk to you before I have to go into work, but I figured I would update you since I am now at the 50% mark of Glass Sword, and I'm enjoying this one. I'm enjoying this one a lot more than I enjoyed Red Queen. It's definitely keeping me on my toes. I like the development of Mare's character as a whole, and I'm liking how much the character's powers are coming into play and the political schemes that are happening within this world and the revolution that's kind of uprising from the beginning of the first book. I don't want to kind of say too much because I don't want to spoil the first book unless anybody wants to read it. I know this is an older series, so I'm sure a lot of you guys have read this one, but in case you are still interested, I don't want to spoil it for you. But I'm really liking it. I think that the characters are really complex and interesting, and I think that Victoria Aveyard really found her stride in the second book with learning how to bring these characters a little bit more depth and allowing them to kind of peel apart and to see the more complex emotions that are happening throughout the entirety of this book and allowing them to kind of feel their emotions but not hinder their progress to the end goal for them. And I'm really enjoying it. I think that the cast of characters that we're working with this book is very interesting, and they all have different motivations and they all want different things, but somehow they come to the same conclusion and they're working towards the same cause, but they're also quite conflicted by the idea of working for the same cause and moving forward with the right expectations, because I think that all of them are expecting different things. I'm kind of speaking in circles with this because I really don't want to spoil it, but I'm enjoying the writing aspect of this, the plot, the development of the characters. I'm really enjoying this book a lot more than the first book, and I think it has potential to be maybe a 3.5 or a 4-star read, and I will definitely continue on with the series if the ending of this book doesn't completely hinder my experience. But so far, so good. I will give you an update once I finish it, and hopefully it will be a good one. Hi friends, I just wanted to come on here and give you an update. I actually have 2 updates on 2 different books. I have been slacking a little bit in regards to updating you while I'm reading the books, but I just wanted to finally sit down and talk about the 2 books that I finished for this reading vlog. The first one being Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. I enjoyed this. Surprisingly, I really enjoyed this. I was worried that I wasn't going to love it because I didn't love the first book, but after reading to the end, like, I'm kind of hooked on the series and I really want to go buy book 3 because I was just really surprised by where this book went and my feelings for the characters and my extreme connection to the characters and their journeys. I just had such a fun time. I really loved the exploration of grief and trauma and what that does to a person and how hard it is to not be changed by those things even when you really don't want to. Like, you can tell that Mare doesn't want to be the type of person that she is now because of things that have happened to her, but she doesn't know how to not be this for herself. She doesn't know how to get past the atrocities that she's experienced in her life. And it was very, very well done. There were some times when I was laughing, there were some times where I was crying, and there were some times where I was just really engaged with the story, and I was just really happy to have read it. I'm excited to get around to book 3. But yeah, I'm really, really pumped that I finished this. I think that the exploration of these characters and their story arcs and where they went from point A to point B in the first and second books has really been so interesting to watch. I'm very, very curious to see what the author is going to do with these particular characters' story arcs for the remainder of the series. I think there's 2 or 3 more books in the series. I could be wrong about that. Maybe there's 2 more, but yeah, I was kind of blown away by how much I really, really enjoyed this one, and I will definitely continue on with the series. So that being said, with the amount of books that I have read and talked about, at least, this one is sitting up at the #1 spot, which is very surprising because I thought that I was going to like this one probably the least. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I will definitely continue on with the series, but I did finish another book that is on this list. I think I talked to you about like the first, I don't even know if I talked to you about this at all. And that is The Boyfriend Project by Farah Roshan. It was okay. It was okay. It wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't everything that I wanted it to be. It was a solid romance. There's some things that I didn't love about it. There's some things that I really enjoyed about it, but I think that for me, it just felt kind of flat. This one follows Samaya. I think that's her name. Yeah, Samaya, and she is dating this guy named Craig, and her date has kind of stood her up for the first half of their date, and she's getting ready to go out, and her sister is scrolling through Twitter, and somebody is tweeting about their date live, and it's the exact date that she went on with this guy named Craig. And so she hops down to that little restaurant, and she decides to call him out for being a two-timing crazy man, douchebag. And she finds out that he's actually been dating 3 men at the same time, and they end up kicking Craig to the curb because fuck that guy, and they become friends, and they decide to create a pact where they make a boyfriend project pact where they decide to put off men for 6 months and just focus on something that is really important to them in their lives. However, the problem with that is that Samaya kind of runs into a new hire at her tech company that she really has some hots for. He is a brand new hire, and he's kind of a mysterious guy. He definitely has an interesting storyline, which I think is something that I didn't really enjoy about the book as a whole, but it was kind of interesting to watch their chemistry become what it was. I don't want to spoil the male main character Daniel's story because it's a spoiler. It's not even in the synopsis, which is why I was kind of thrown off by his experience in the story, but I just didn't love it. I think the pacing was a little bit weird. I didn't fall head over heels for the characters. And I felt like the first 100 pages, the author was doing a lot of telling me that they had all this chemistry and telling me about their experiences together, but there wasn't a lot of showing of the two of them on page together where I could feel the chemistry rolling off the two of them. And it wasn't until about like 120 pages that they had their first like long encounter where it felt real. So that's unfortunate. I really wanted to love this. I'm not saying it's bad. I will definitely read more books in the series because I believe the second and third books follow the other two women that were part of the boyfriend project, and I was really intrigued by all of their stories. I also like the exploration of women in tech as well as Black women in tech and how hard it is to climb the ladder, especially as a Black woman in any profession, but in tech especially, and how much she had to work for what she has in her life, and she had to work 10 times as hard as her white counterparts because she was Black. So I really liked that exploration and the topic of that. I just didn't love everything about the book. So I liked it. 3 stars. If I'm rating things now, it would be Glass Sword, The Boyfriend Project, and then The Wedding Date. So far so good. I'm glad that I read it. I will definitely continue on with the series, but I don't think I'll be keeping this book. Which means that there's only one book left for this week of reading, which is House of Salt and Sorrow. So hopefully I can start that one relatively soon, but I also need to make sure to focus on my TBR. So even though this was only supposed to be a week-long vlog, I will pick it back up when I get around to House of Salt and Sorrow. Hello friends, it has been a little while since I talked to you, a lot longer than I thought that this secret TBR video was going to take. But I do have an update on some reading, so I figured I would sit down and give you an update on House of Salt and Sorrow. I don't exactly know how far I am into this one. I was listening to the audiobook on the way home, but when I looked at my audiobook app, I was about 47% of the way through, and I've been updating you about the 50% mark, so I figured since I'm about to get on sprints with my friend Mike, I would update you now. And so far, I am really enjoying this. This is a very interestingly told story. It's very atmospheric, very lyrical in writing, so if you don't like writing like this, I don't think that you would like this book. That being said, I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking the storytelling aspect of this. This is a 12 Dancing Princesses, wow, I could not say that, a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. Oh my gosh. And it's interesting. It's so weird and creepy and eerie. At the beginning of the story, one of, I think her name is Adelaide. Adelaide's sisters, one of her 11 siblings, or 12 siblings, I'm not sure. I don't know if the mom is supposed to be considered one of the 12 because she also died, but by the time this book starts, 4 of her siblings have passed as well as her mom. And the rest of this family has kind of been labeled cursed because all of the people seem to be dying off in weird, unusual ways, and the ways that they die are getting more and more creepy as the time goes on. So her last sister, I forget what her name was. It's been talked about all the time, but there's a lot of sisters, and I keep forgetting who's who. But the sister that just recently died, she basically jumped off of a cliff and died on impact. However, Adelaide finds out some things that lead her to believe that her sister wasn't murdered instead of an accidental death or suicide. And so she's kind of going on this journey to figure out who did it and why and what the motives were. And then alongside that, you're following this 12 Dancing Princesses retelling where they kind of go into this portal, basically, that transports them to another place in this world, and they start going to balls on regular. But the balls that they attend seem to take a toll on their mental and emotional state. And their physical state as well. They're having trouble sleeping, they're sleeping longer, they're having less time of consciousness, I guess. And it's just very eerie and creepy. One of the youngest siblings, her name is Verity, she's convinced that she is seeing the ghosts of her 4 dead sisters, but some of them she wasn't even old enough to remember, but she knows details about them that she shouldn't know. And so it's just all eerie, creepy, weird. I'm really liking it. The writing style is just drawing me right in. It's very lyrical, and when I read it alongside the audiobook, it seems to take forever to get through the pages. However, I'm still really enjoying it. So I have like 5 hours-ish left on the audiobook before I finish this one, and I'm really hoping to get through it relatively soon so that I can give you a final update on this video and let you know how reading my TBR bets has been, but we shall see how quickly I'm able to finish this one. Like I said, I'm going to be on sprints with Mike a little bit later, and so hopefully I'll be able to finish this one relatively soon, but I will give you my final updates when I finish this book and close out this vlog, so talk to you then. Hi friends, I just wanted to come on here, give my final update, and close out this secret TBR vlog. I'm going to say this in every clip that I'm filming with this makeup. Please don't mind the makeup. I was trying something new. Don't know if I like it. We're just going to pretend like it's not happening. Thank you. But I did finish House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig just today, and oh my gosh, did I love it. It was so good. Surprisingly, I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I was just blown away by the story. The idea of this like weird, creepy, like ominous happenings that are going on with these dances and the 12 Dancing Princesses retelling and the deaths that keep happening between the family members, and it was just so intriguing and pulled me in every step of the way, and I really enjoyed it. I can't remember if I really talked about the synopsis of this, but you kind of have this paranormal aspect that is kind of weaving its way throughout the story, and there's twists and turns, and you are kind of hanging on to every word because you're trying to figure out what's going on, and nothing quite makes sense. And I usually don't like books like that, although I would say that if you like The Starless Sea and The Night Circus and you want something more YA and a little bit easier to digest, you would really enjoy this actually. So maybe I do like stories like that. I'm not really sure, but I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was so well done. I thought it was so beautifully written. The writing in this story was just so captivating and wonderful, and everything about it was everything that I wanted and more. I got to the end of the book and I automatically wanted to reread it. So that is when you know you have a good book on your hands. I just really enjoyed this one. The characters were fantastic. I really enjoyed the relationship between the sisters and the bonds that they have, but also the expectations that they have from people around them to get married and find a good suitor, but because of the curse that they have on their family of all of these girls dying, they really had to reevaluate what was important to them, and I really enjoyed that. And it was just so good. The romance that happened in this story, it took more of a backseat to the atmospheric, weird vibes that were going around in this story, but I thought that it was really beautifully well done, and I really enjoyed the ending. All of it, all around, was just really fantastic. The first, I would say 50 to 100 pages, I was really confused, and I didn't know if I was going to like it, but once I got sucked into the story and sucked into the storyline and the characters, there was no way that I could put it down. I just kept wanting to pick it up and seeing where the story went. So super glad that I read this one. But let's go ahead and wrap up all 4 books and tell you my order of how I would rank them. I swear I do not remember what the Goodreads ranking was or what I originally thought that my my things were going to be. It's been so long since I filmed that, so I'm gonna go ahead and put up pictures so that you can see kind of where the Goodreads were, where my original thoughts were, and then what I ended up having in regards to my rankings. So we have these 4 books that were collecting dust on my shelves, my TBR vets, and I enjoyed most of them for the most part. If I have to pit them against each other though, I'm definitely going to put The Wedding Date at the bottom. That book was absolutely terrible. I hated it with every fiber of my being. And then if I had to choose from there, it would be The Boyfriend Project, which really sucks because I have not been enjoying a lot of traditionally published romances. They just have not been my vibe. And then I would put The Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard. I really enjoyed the sequel way more than the first book in the series, and I'm so glad that I read it because I was going to unhaul the series as I read them, but this one really changed my mind and has made me want to continue on with the series and keep the books so that I can reread them in the future. And then, of course, I just gushed about it. I'm putting House of Salt and Sorrow at the top. Wow, I was so blown away by this story, and I'm just so glad that I read these. So I will go ahead and put the picture up now of kind of where everything played out and how the pieces fell in regards to this secret TBR and my rankings. I'm really interested to see what you guys thought that I would rate these and if you were right. So feel free to let me know if you got it right and if I liked the ones that you thought I was going to like and disliked the ones that you thought I was going to dislike. I would also love to hear your thoughts if you've read on any of these, what you thought of them, and what you thought of this video. I will be putting out more of these soon, one every month for the next, I don't know, 10 months, so stay tuned for those. It's going to be a fun time. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you thought. If you did enjoy it though, please make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and of course leave any comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
Baby, turn it down like a sweet and ready. Go slow, keep it nice and steady. Know that you